Hello, beautiful souls! I am Valeria Maritza at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. I just did a Facebook Live in my private Facebook group, which is also called Healing Through You, um, all about releasing the past, right? Releasing the feeling of what could have been. And I am so pumped up, and it felt like, okay, I need to add this to my podcast because it is such a great topic. I know I have different people listening here that are not in my Facebook group, and so I wanted to share this message as it's coming in so incredibly strong. So what does it mean to be living in the past, or to let go of what could have been, right? A lot of times, a lot of times, let's say some tragedy happens and you see on the news, especially somebody uh, passing away, or someone who's passed away who was quite young, or just, before their natural time. And the people who are grieving often say something like this. They say they're never going to, and then fill in the blank, right? Get married, have kids, see my child be born, graduate high school, whatever it is that people are grieving. They're grieving of what could have been had their life not ended so abruptly or so quickly, unexpectedly. And it's not to take away at all the pain or the tragedy, but that is just part of the imagination, right? The only thing that exists is the now. Whatever happened in the past and is there, and it has happened to serve us, right? It has some type of purpose in our lives. And then there's the future, and the future also doesn't exist until you get there, right? And when you get to the future, then you're not in the future, you're in the now, right? And the past already happened, so that's no longer available. What happens when we lose something, whether it's we lose somebody because they crossed over, or they just left our experience, our field, like let's say a loved one, right? Or a romantic partner, and you're no longer with them because you broke up, right? For whatever reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is. The fact is that you're no longer together, right? And so you've lost that person from your life. Or it could be a job, right? You may have had like the quote unquote perfect job, and you might have lost it. Or it could be, maybe you lost your home. I mean, these are all big, gigantic um, challenges to move through in this life. They're all valid things. But when we give more energy to what you used to have, and you begin to daydream, because that's all it is a daydream of what could have been if you still had it, whatever it was. It could also be your health, right? Let's say you got sick with something, and oh, when I used to have the health or the strength, I could have done these things, and now I can no longer do it. um, so when we are stuck in the past and we're giving fuel to that, we're saying, oh, if this was still here in my life, then, and then you come up with whatever you're imagining of the beautiful life that you would be having if it was still here, right? And I'm going slow here in this podcast to really explain this, because whatever you imagine, right? um oh, then they're never gonna get to see my child being born, or get married, or graduate high school, or see their grandkids, or whatever it is, right? That is just an imagination. It's imagination because it didn't happen. And you're like, yes, but I'm grieving the fact that they'll never be able to, right? But again, you're just imagining that that could have been a possibility, right? And let me put it a little bit closer with an example about a partner, a romantic partner. Okay, so let's say the romantic partner left and is no longer in your area. They didn't die, they just left, right? That you're no longer together, and you're grieving the fact that, oh, we're never going to get married and we were just perfect for each other. We're going to have kids. We're going to have this home. We're going to live in whatever place. All of that is your imagination. You are imagining the best possible scenario of what your life with this person could have been had they not left, right? Or maybe you left them, but the fact is that you're not together, right? Now, you're only imagining the best scenario because they're no longer here. But in fact, if they had still been here, then of course you would have had the good and the bad with it, because the good always comes with the bad. So in any relationship, as beautiful as a relationship might be, there are still parts where there's a little friction or a little disagreement or something that the couples need to work through in order to grow and get stronger and better, or sometimes it goes the other way, right? So when we are imagining what could have been, we are only imagining the good. And this is why it's so hurtful. This is why we get stuck in believing and thinking and giving more fuel to that past, to that thing that we no longer have. Because we're thinking that if they were still with us, then everything would have been love and roses, right? We're thinking of that. We're not thinking of the possibility that in reality, things don't usually go that way, right? If you're thinking of your life right now with your current partner, with your current job, with your current relationships, there's always good and bad in everything, even with your best friends. Don't you get mad at your best friends sometimes and then you're back together, right? But when we lose that, let's say your best friend crosses over, then you're only thinking of the good things that happen with that person. And you're not even thinking about the times that you got mad at each other. This is why it's so difficult to let go of it, to let go of that thought, because you're making it into this beautiful fantasy of what could have been, when in actuality, it never happened, right? Because they're no longer here. Now, the only thing that really is true is the present moment, what's happening right now. And you can begin to create a life without that thing or person that you lost, by creating ideas, thoughts, and feelings about what you want in the future, what you want to create without the person, job, home, or health, or whatever it is that you may have lost, right? I'll give you an example. I knew many years back, I knew a person, I knew a massage therapist, and he was really an adventure guy, right? He liked to like jump off planes, go skiing, like all of this, like really extreme sports stuff that I'm completely like not into, because, I'm a Taurus and I like to have my feet on the ground, but that's just me. I'm sure there are other Taurus peoples that are more adventurous than I. But anyway, this is what he did. This was his life. He was always going somewhere, right? And just living life to the fullest. And then he had a crippling accident when he jumped off a plane one time, and he ended up paralyzed from the waist down. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, and I felt bad, and I was like, oh, that's terrible. Like, all the things that he used to do and now he can't do them. Right. And I thought that I projected my feeling of feeling sorry for him, for the life that he used to have that he can no longer have. However, was I wrong? Because um, then I saw pictures of him, who was still jumping off planes, and he had this contraption and this whole setup that he can still jump off planes and go skiing and doing all of these things while he was paralyzed. He is paralyzed from the waist down, but he didn't let that stop him. He continued doing what he liked to do, living life to this fullest, even though part of his body was no longer functioning the way it did before, right? So what he didn't do was think back and lament about, oh, when I had my legs and when I could run and when I could do all of these things. No, he didn't stay there. I'm sure he stayed at the beginning, right? We all can do that and grieve what we have lost, but it's what we do after, right? When we realize, okay, well, that was then, this is now, what am I going to do with this now? Well, you know what? I'm still going to do the things that I like to do. And he did. and he does. Why can he do that? Because he's not stuck in what could have been had I not lost this thing, which is the movement and use of his legs, that I used to have. Right? Does that make sense? And so the only thing you have is the now. And right now, let's say, he doesn't have the use of his legs. What can I do with this? Can I go and jump off the plane? How can I do that? Let me figure it out, look for solutions, and then do it and have that wonderful, extreme acceleration feeling that he was looking for, even though the circumstances in his life had turned a big change, right? It's like a huge change in his life. And then, but he's still doing it. He's still doing the things. He didn't let him stop him. And so, how do you do that? You imagine yourself, okay, that's what I want to do. And you don't worry about the house. You don't want to stop and like, oh, well, how would somebody who can't walk jump off a plane? That's not your problem. If that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. And you're just like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. How is this going to happen? That's not my problem. The universe is going to deliver it. And then you will start to see ideas and reasons and other people doing it, right? You will find whatever you put your attention to. So if you're putting your attention to people who are invalid and who cannot walk, right? Because they have no use of their legs, and they can't feel them or move them. They're just vegetables. They can't do anything. They have to depend on other people to take care of them. And if you put that thought in your mind and you look for evidence of that on the internet, you will find it. You will find time after time, link after link of people who have lost the use of their legs and how they're being taken care of and what kind of things they're doing and how dependent they are. But if you are like, okay, people who have lost the use of their legs can still do extreme sports, and you do a search for that, I haven't done the search, but you will find evidence of people who are doing this even though they don't have the use of their legs, right? And so whatever you put your attention to, you will find the answer to. And if you start doing that, then you're going to start receiving information on the how that you don't know how it could happen. Because why would you know how it can happen if you had never thought about it before or like looked for it, right? So you're going to put it out there to the universe, and the universe will deliver information, and then you're going to begin to see ways of making this happen. And as long as you keep your eye on the prize, which is what you want, then the universe will continue to deliver ways for you to reach that goal that you want, right? And the fact here is that you're not stopping and lamenting and feeling sorry for yourself for what you lost. You are instead figuring out how this was in fact something good for you, right? What good came out of it? How are you able to continue to make a difference, to show others, to live your life, and to inspire other people who may not have had that change in perception of for whatever it is that happened to them. So if you're thinking, okay, I want to go jump off the plane, I don't have the use of my legs for this, and you just put it out there and you start to receive the information, right? You're imagining yourself doing it, but still in the future, it's still an imagination, but it lights you up, it feeds you, it raises your frequency. And because you're functioning at a higher frequency, because you're joyful, you have something to look forward to, you're excited about it, then those things are attracted to you, and then they become a reality. And reality is not in the future, the reality is just now, right? So like, even if I say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to, let's say, get a haircut, that's just my imagination. I'm just imagining myself getting a haircut, and it's not real until I actually am in the now getting a haircut, right? And so the same thing for that. He's imagining himself jumping off a plane. He's imagining that, and it's not real until he actually jumps off the plane and he is in the present moment doing it and jumping, right? The difference is that what you're thinking about is something that is a high frequency, something that brings you joy, something that lights you up, instead of thinking of the past of what could have been, right? Oh, I could have ran that marathon if I still had use of my legs, right? And then you start going down and thinking of all the things that you could have done if you had the use of your legs. that you don't have. And what does that do? That doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel light. That feels heavy. That feels sad. That feels even angry, right? And if you're having all of these low frequency feelings that are also imagination because they never happen, right? You're just imagining these things that you could have done if you hadn't, but they're not. And so you're really enforcing what you do not have, in this case, the use of your legs. Then you are aligning yourself with these low frequency feelings that are really making more of low frequency sad things or things that you would have missed, events and experiences to come into your awareness because you are aligned with that frequency. It's like the dial of a radio, right? If you put the radio dial on classical music, you are not going to hear hard rock on that station, right? If you want hard rock, you need to put the station on a hard rock station, right? And then change it so that you can hear what you want, right? So it's the same thing. If you're going to go back and lament and think of what you used to have, which you no longer have, and you're starting to feel heavy and low and sad, then you're going to align yourself with those low frequencies, which will bring you more experiences to make you feel that way, right? If instead you start dreaming in the future of what you can do with the situation, the people, or the things that you have right now in the moment, or maybe things that you want to even create and bring into your awareness, like let's say you don't have a home and you're imagining yourself being in a beautiful home that's yours, right? You're bringing that into your awareness, so you're not lamenting the fact that I don't have a home anymore, but you're imagining yourself into your brand new home, right? So it's a different way of thinking about it. You're not thinking I don't have it. You're thinking, wow, wouldn't it be great to be there? Wouldn't it be nice if I had that? How wonderful that I live in this beautiful house. And you're imagining what it feels like to be in your new home. And so your frequency is high because you're dreaming and feeling joy and happiness. And so the universe has to deliver what you are asking for as long as you are aligned with the high frequency vibe. Okay? So let go of the thoughts and feelings of what could have been if I still had XYZ. It's all an imagination, right? And it's only going to feel low. It's going to feel sad. It's going to feel heavy, right? You're not feeling happy when you're thinking of what could have been, right? So stop giving energy to that. Instead, put your energy and imagine what you do want with what you do have, or maybe creating a future with what you don't have yet, but not something that you've lost, just like a new creation, right? A lot of people, especially if you've lost romantic partner, not because they've passed, but because it wasn't a match, at least on their side. They begin to imagine a future with them anyway because they don't want to let go of what they used to have, right? That energy is never going to bring it back to you in a good way because it's attached to the feelings of having lost it. And so you want to align yourself with meeting and matching up with a person that is right for you, that is emotionally available, a person that is ready for you, that doesn't that is vibrating at a high frequency, someone who's joyful, someone who gets you, someone who's there for you, right? You want or something better. You always want to put the or something better when you're manifesting, because there might be something even better that you don't even realize about, but the universe knows and you don't know about, right? Because you're only thinking of the limitations that you have as a person. And so you want to put that energy there and let go of what you've lost. I know this is difficult, especially if you have lost what you thought was your twin flame, or the love of your life, and they're no longer with you. Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter what circumstances separated you from your so-called twin flame, love of your life, soulmate. It doesn't matter. If it happened, it wasn't. Okay, pause in there for all of you who are like just really still attached to that one person that you've lost, either because they've gone off with somebody else, or maybe they've have crossed over. Okay, now if they've crossed over, slightly different it could have been, but it doesn't mean that they're the only one. Okay, twin flames, um, love of my life for like the first time or the only time, is not just one. It's not just one. There's always another one. There's always more. Why? Because we're infinite beings of light. And what does that mean? It means that you have lived and reincarnated on this earth multiple times, many times, and you have been with your twin flame, with your soulmate many times. And your soulmate or your twin flame is not always the same one. What? Right. It's not always the same one. There's different energies. There's different energies. And so there's more than one. Did you know that? It's not just one, guys. And so allow yourself to be and to search and to receive from the universe if that's what you want, so that you can be available for what else is there that the universe is giving you, right? You don't want to limit yourself to just that one experience that you no longer have. You want to start to imagine yourself happy, joyful, full of love, and also whole. Okay, whole. This is very important. A lot of times we feel, and this is all created by the media, of course, that when we have a romantic partner, they are our other half, or they make us whole, right? I mean, that has been like a hallmark story like for a really long time. It is not that way. You are whole as you are on your own. And it's when you take all of you, the whole you, and you're able to share with another person who is a whole them as well, that's when you really have that really great dynamics and relationship. And then if it doesn't work out and it breaks off, then you don't feel completely lost because you were whole to begin with. You were just sharing your wholeness with their wholeness, and that's it, right? But if you start thinking about it as, oh, where's my other half, and this is my other half, and then your other half leaves, of course you're going to feel depleted and empty, and like, what am I going to do now that is only half of me, right? Because you're not half of you. You always were the whole of you. Oh my gosh, I have gone like in three different tangents on this one particular podcast. So I apologize for that. It's just I'm receiving so many messages, and I just like have not been able to stop it. But I'm going to stop it right now. I like to keep my podcast short so that you're able to receive the information and be able to really transmute it within your body. Let me know how this felt. Let me know if you have any questions. If you agree, if you disagree, it's all good with me, guys. It's all good. It's whatever, wherever you are, and the information is getting to you. I just really, my intention is for it to lift you up, help you, and help you live in a higher frequency of wherever it is that you are. Okay, I love you so much. Please leave me a comment, send me a message, and or please share this podcast so more people can receive the message. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.